Teaching a class online should not subtract from how interactive it is, but offer new opportunities for interactions between both students and professors and between fellow students. Welcome to the world of EdCraft. In part 2, we cover how to make your class more interactive and create an environment that fosters learning. The most important day of the semester to me is the first day of class, and students usually call this Syllabus Day. But more important than the first day of class is the first minute of class. This is going to set the tone for your class and give students an idea of what your class is about and how much attention they should put into your class. So I try to grab the students' attention. I have openings for my videos, and I try to use some of my best openings at the start of the semester to show them we're going to have some fun, and then we set more of a serious tone later on. But I want them to enjoy class to begin with, and that way we can hold their attention and then draw them into the more difficult concepts and work through those later in the semester. So one of the most important things, I think, is figuring out how to gain students' attention at the very start of the semester and show them that this is a class that they should focus on. So one thing that is very important to me is talking to my students on the first day and having an actual real conversation with them. And I want to show them through this that I'm a person, that they can come to me with their questions whenever they're stuck in class. So how do you do this? How do you have a real conversation? How do you get students to ask questions? Well, I like to do a speed run. So let's do one right now and see what it's like. Okay, we're going to try to do 10 questions about Brian here in 1 minute. So let's start the clock. Let's get some questions. I see first off, what is my favorite ice cream flavor? It is cookie dough. What is my favorite anime? That's question number 2, and that'd be Full Metal Alchemist. Great anime. Check it out if you haven't. What is my favorite sport? Well, that's a tough one right there. It's probably football. Tennessee. Go Vols. Hey. So we try to go through as many questions as we can. Students are cracking up. They're asking questions. I'll even do like a bonus round sometimes where we'll have more questions. But if you notice right here, we're focusing on having fun. We're focusing on asking questions, and I'm also showing them what the class is like through a speed run. Speed runs are how I cover topics pretty quickly and try to draw their attention in for about a few minutes. So with this, they're learning not only about me, but the format of the class and doing it in kind of a unique way. And this is my goal right here, is to draw their attention and to actually learn both about me and the class. So next, as you notice, I try to show them how the class works. Just like in that moment, I'm not going to just tell them about speedruns. We're going to do a speed run to learn about Brian on the first day. So I go through multiple examples. I'll show them what a boss battle is. I'll show them these different things so they know what to do when we get to these types of learning. When they see me on the main screen with the background behind me, that's usually just casual conversation. Let's hop over to that screen real quick right here. So here we are on the main screen. When I'm here, usually we just have kind of casual conversation. We talk about what's going on with the day, and this is how I start the class. So I'll even start the class the first day like this and just talk to them, and usually I won't be showing the screen. So they learn kind of the format of the class. They understand how is this class going to work, and it sets a structure for the class for the remainder of the semester. They also know when I'm over on my lecture screen and they can see the slides that we have right here, we're actually learning and focusing in on a topic. So there's a little bit different. Like this is the point where we're not cracking as many jokes, when we're not off topic as much. This is when we're more focused in on what we're doing, when we're on a screen like this. So the different visuals help create this sort of atmosphere that shows them what we'll be doing. And so I am serious, and I do try to go over material throughout the first day. A big thing to me is actually covering some work, giving them an assignment. By the next class, they'll need to sign up to my Pearson. They'll need to have Art Studio installed on their computer. There's different tasks for each class, but on the first day, there is material that we cover, and there are tasks that they will need to complete. Now, this makes your class a priority often and shows students, okay, every week I need to focus in on this class. Where's this class on my schedule, and what do I need to be doing to stay current with this class? And the first day is very important because it shows them that your class is a class they will need to pay attention to. Lastly, the future of the class should be something exciting. One way I get my students excited is through Kahoots. Kahoots are an online game show where you can edit the questions and use them for review. Students can answer the question with either their phone or their computer. We do a weekly Kahoot with prizes, and they're not that big of prizes, but like a $20 Amazon gift card to the winner. And I had students who showed up every single week. One student came in second consistently, so I finally gave them an award because they kept coming in second every week. But I want them to be excited about something. I want them to say, okay, there's something cool we're going to be doing, a fun way of reviewing, but give them something to be excited about, something that resonates with students. And I found that students really like Kahoots. And we just usually have a short 10-question Kahoot, usually lasts about 30 minutes. We review the material and we have a winner. And it's pretty exciting when we get to see the podium and we find out who the winner is. So I've tried to create a point or a ranking system throughout all of my classes. And I'm really lucky with online because I have a bot that monitors my chat. So my class being streamed through YouTube allows me the ability to track the users in the chat, and we can kind of control if there's any problems. But additionally, I can give them ranks, I can give them points, I can track how many hours they're watching the class. If you'll notice right here, these are the top hours watchers in our class. And for one semester, we had people watching 56 hours, 54 hours, many people in the 40s. And this was time I had the bot active and they were actively watching the video, which means they were conversing over a certain interval of time, which kept their name active in the chat. And so this has worked excellently well. Students can actually check their points in the chat, and students love this. At the start of the stream, we usually see people typing exclamation mark points to see how many points they have. And students are like, oh, I'm now, at gold tier, I'm now at silver tier, and we have all these different levels. And if you can tell, I actually had to create new levels because students were constantly wanting, what's the next level after gold? What's the next level after Hall of Fame? What's the next level after Hero of Eternity? And we just had to go higher and higher, and it became really fun. And students were enjoying the new levels as I would create them because people were like, oh, who's going to get to the new level first? A lot of the top students in the class. And it really creates more interaction when they feel like they gain something out of the interaction. So beyond just kind of these points, we have how do they get these points? They can be talking in the chat, but I also do polls and I do quizzes right here. So we've got quizzes for betting and we've just got polls for questions. So whenever I want to do a quiz, I have them bet on the answers. I have set up right here a simple true false, which they can bet on. And they know the commands in chat to bet on this. And they can bet up to 20 of their points right here, and they get a doubling of their points if they give the right answer. Sometimes I'll have these be easy, but I usually use them to just make sure students are watching and staying on track. And sometimes I'll just have it to where students can bet a maximum of like 5,000 points, and points can just get completely out of control. I rarely do that, but it's only at the end of the semester, and students who just have a lot of points start to build up massive amounts of points very quickly. So another thing we have is just simple polls that we can do. And this really comes in use when we're doing reviews. This is very similar to how polling is done in Zoom, but students actually use the chat and type exclamation mark vote and then choose the option they want to vote for. So when we were reviewing for the final, we had like 7 topics people wanted to cover, and I just said, vote on the topic you want. And then we just put them in order of how many votes there were, and we just went through the topics. And this really creates, I believe, an interactive atmosphere where students feel like they're actually kind of controlling what you're going to go through, and students respond to that. One of my favorite things is the quotes we have in our class. Now, these are things that either I've said or I want students to know or that they've said. One of my students said, if we're all outliers, aren't none of us outliers, during a topic on outliers when I was talking about what it means to be an outlier. And I thought it was so insightful that we edited it as a quote. And the student emailed me to tell me it just made their day that they now had a quote in the class that people could pull up, and they loved it. And so we try to create kind of memories through the class. We try to create, this is the class where we have the quote, pepperoni pizza party. And students remember the topics that we talked about, and these quotes kind of create more memories around the topics where we crack up and we laugh about a certain something, and then they can use these quotes by using a simple command to bring up the quote whenever they want to see the quote. And oftentimes they'll start class or end class with the quotes, and pepperoni pizza party was definitely one of the favorites. Usually would start class with a bunch of people just having pepperoni pizza party appear in the chat. We do get serious, I promise, but we do have a lot of fun, especially at the start and towards the end of class. We try to be a little more lighthearted. We need to change up the learning. And what do I mean by that? Don't stay on a static screen. Don't stay on slides the whole lecture. Don't stay typing in a word pad. Don't stay drawing something. You have to change up what you're doing probably every 10 to 20 minutes. And this creates kind of a draw of attention for the students. And then you have to figure out where you're drawing their attention and what you can utilize in that moment. So one of the first things I utilize is my whiteboard. This allows me to write things out and say to students, you need to write this down. I can annotate on the screen at any time, but when I go to the whiteboard, I believe students are actually writing down what I am writing down. I'll tell them to write it down. I'll say, this is very important for the test. That usually draws their attention to writing it down. I'll say, this diagram will help you remember the different graphical displays that we are learning. And when they put this in their notes, they can then resource it. They don't have to go back to the video, which does have the timestamps, but using the whiteboard helps me draw students' attentions in and have them write down what I am writing down. Additionally, we have speedruns. And now in a speedrun, I try to cover as much as I can, as fast as I can. So I don't use these to go over topics at the start. I try to use these when we come back to a topic. So I want these to be geared towards students who already know the topic, who might have some gaps in their knowledge. And then we can try to find these gaps by going over the whole topic. Now, they can ask questions during the speedrun, so sometimes I don't do the questions as fast as I can. But with this, we can try to find these gaps in a quick and concise fashion. Something new this semester is boss battles, and I'm really excited because we're going to use this when we have a difficult question or the test is approaching or the project's approaching, and we can kind of fight the boss and kind of make a plan of action. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first boss battle on Stat 201. So right now, we've got the boss battle screen, but we could use a little boss battle music. So now we've got some boss battle music, and we're only missing one thing right now. We're only missing
the boss. Test 1's approaching. It's 1 week from now. There's videos on this channel. You can wait till the night before and watch all of them. Maybe you'll make a C+.
Now, I don't know about that, everybody. That sounds like some bad advice right there. I would not wait before the night, before the Stat 201 exam. What should we do? What plan should we make to beat the boss? Let's make a plan right here and see what the boss thinks about it. Chat, I need your help. Send me this plan. So this is a working idea right here. We'll see what happens. I want the boss to maybe give some bad advice, kind of a bad 90s action movie boss, kind of maybe cliche a bit. But hopefully the students like this, and we'll see how they respond. And check back on the channel for updates on boss battles. Last but not least, we're to the end of class right here. And so when the class is over, just like I switched the boss battle screen, I can immediately go to the class is over screen, just like that. And I try to have a saying, and I always adhere to it. We start on time, we end on time. And students really like that. So pretty much right when the class hits, I'm playing the intro video, and then I can see the time down there in the bottom corner, which when I'm in an in-class class, I can see the clock, or on the screen on the computer, I can see the clock. So usually I'm looking at a podium, and I say, okay, class is over. We start on time, we end on time. And that saying's really helped because I want students to know that when we're in class, we're focused. We don't end class 5 minutes early. We don't start class 5 minutes late. I could probably count on one hand the times I've ended class early or started class late. It's very important to me to say we start on time, we end on time. And how do I let students know we're over? Boom, class is over. Taking questions. And one important thing that I learned through teaching online is students really appreciate when you stay and help. But also I learned if you stay and help, students think they're supposed to stay. My first semester teaching via the YouTube format, I actually had negative comments saying, Brian often teaches longer than class goes on. And I thought that was a good thing. I thought it was great that I was staying here helping students. And that's what inspired me to create this screen, because I'll say things like, okay, everyone, you can go, class is over, but if you have questions, let me know. And once I created this screen, I had no comments saying how I went over time and they felt like there was too much in the video. And we don't cover any new topics here. Students should know that these parts of the videos are parts that they can skip, and it just helps them orient their learning to what you are doing and what you're trying to teach them via your teaching method. And there's many things that we can only do in person. Many of my class participation examples, I have examples where we try Girl Scout cookies, where we do a soda lab, where we learn about interactions, where we use Sprite and Coke and vanilla and peach syrup, and we just combine them all together, and it's so much fun. But we can't do those online unless I ship everybody Sprite, Coke, and syrups to put in their drinks and then fill out comment cards on how great they were or not great they were. Also, you can't visually assess how your students are doing. You can't walk through the class and make sure students are on track. You might be watching them on a Zoom video, but still they could just be staring at the screen and looking at something totally unrelated to what you're teaching. So it's very hard to make sure students are on track. It's much easier in class to see a student who's writing down what you're saying and asking questions, and they're on track. Your class is actively learning the material. So what we have that still works in person and online, but still is better in person, are things like office hours. Now, I do love my online office hours, but actually seeing if a student is stuck, you can tell when a student's just sitting there and they're just like, I don't know what to do. I have a lot of students come to my office, and if I see a student just sitting there looking confused, I'll say, hey, how's it going? What are you working on? And you can't really do that online. Someone could just be silent because they're working. You can't read really well in office hours how students are doing online, but I still hold office hours online. There are some benefits to those, which we'll talk about in a second. The whole reading the room thing is what we're missing online. It just goes into, how do we read an online room? We can still read it. We can see if the students are responding. And that's the biggest thing here. Make sure your students are interacting with you. Make sure you have a chat going with them. Make sure you know that they're at least kind of hearing what you're saying by asking questions. Online, you need interaction probably every 2 to 3 minutes so that the way the students can respond to you and you can respond to them. So make sure you keep interaction throughout your class as a theme. So what can we do better online? We definitely have better visualizations and audio. Now, we can create visualizations for our class, but there's a lot of things that we just simply can't do, like my daily events right here. Let's see Mega Mondays. You can't tell, I just like seeing Mega Man right there, but we have our daily events in our class. And so those sorts of visualizations that kind of just draw on their attentions are something that just can't really be done as well in person. They're just better online to create this kind of visual effect that happens over your screen. Now, this does take investments of time and money. Some people are lucky enough to have the resources. I had people kind of helping me learn how to create things through the Adobe Suite. And so with visualizations, it just comes over time and you build up this library of effects you have and that you can work with. We also have audio that works better, and a small investment in something like Yeti Blue can deliver great audio quality. So I'm always telling people one of the first investments they should make is in a good microphone, and additionally then in good lighting. So you pretty much want to go for your audio first, because if they can't hear you, they're not going to be learning things properly. And then you want to worry about your visualizations after that. And that goes to first your lighting and then your camera. A lot of people have it in reverse. You would think it'd be camera then lighting, but you want to worry about having good lighting and then worry about a good camera. It's kind of, you can only do as good as your lighting is doing for what you're trying to film. So just a small investment usually of learning how to create visualizations or learning how to get proper audio and proper lighting will give a dramatic increase to the quality of what you're doing online. And last but not least, we also have review here. Now, when you do a review in person, people might miss something you said, but when you do a review online, it's recorded. And that way they can just go back. If they're like, wait, what did they say? They can immediately go back. So some of my reviews might have 50 to 100 students watching live, and then the video gets 1,000 views afterwards. And I have found that sometimes doing the review the night of the test, the night right before the test, works really well. I put out review videos that they can access at any time, and then I'll oftentimes do maybe a small review in class, and then I've done surprise reviews the night before, but I have different methods. And unfortunately, this sometimes means meeting students where they're at. The night before their test, they're doing reviews. So I'll be like, well, I'll hop online for an hour, hour and a half. I'll answer questions. We'll go over topics they're stuck on. And usually we have a lot of students watching and a lot of students reviewing. And a lot of students have already done some review beforehand, so you get a lot of good questions. So what are things that can only be done online? And this would be productive conversations between students during class. I can't imagine teaching in person, a student raising their hand, asking me a question, and then another student answering before I can even respond. But online, that works perfectly. Online, students ask questions in the chat, and I'll be teaching, and then a student will respond and give a great answer. And usually I'll comment, I'm like, yeah, Andrew, that's an amazing answer right there. Great job. And I agree 100%. Outliers, when it comes to box plots, are 1.5 IQRs above Q3 or 1.5 IQRs below Q1. And this creates more of a collaborative atmosphere, and students know that they can answer each other's questions. And usually I try to reward these students helping each other out with extra credit. So students can actually converse with each other and answer each other's questions during class and not subtract from the class, but actually add to it. One last thing I love is our special effects. And you can do some special effects in person, but you can't do things like making the whole screen appear with the randomness right here. So there we go. It's our famous random screen. Anytime we say random throughout the class, we pull it up because I'm usually like, the p-value is the probability of something occurring by what sort of chance? Like the probability of our results from our stream by random chance. You got it right there. Or I'd be like, oh, let's generate some numbers, but how should we generate some numbers? Let's generate them randomly. Let's do this. So we have some fun. We have different screens, or I can just give people extra credit anytime I want. I can make different things appear. I've got all of these with quick access. And one thing I want to point out right here, all of these special effects, Dr. Lowe and Dr. Willems go through this in greater detail, are being done via my Stream Deck right here. I've got all the different music you heard for some of the boss battle right there. And I've got all my openings over here. The current opening right now is my Between Bumpers opening, and we've got all my different sound effects right here. So if you notice, I've got my class organized in a way where I can do this all and create a smooth experience where we go from a boss battle to where we go to the opening screen, where we go to our exit screen. All of it's done very smoothly through the Stream Deck. And definitely check out the videos going over how to utilize the Stream Deck. First off, the music you heard was free from YouTube. And once again, I have all this music queued up on my Stream Deck right here in the musics folder. And I have them organized in row by kind of intensity level. We've got here the most intense music. This is the panic music. Let's watch out while we play it. A little scary right there. And then we've got definitely more relaxing music down below. So this is more kind of relaxing, nice and easy music. So kind of going up in intensity, and it helps me kind of see, and they all have different names for them. It's just nice. I just want to kind of listen to the rest of this song now. And if you're wondering how am I not getting in trouble with YouTube, a big thing I want to point out is that this music is not going to get you any copyright claims. So this music is under the YouTube library to where you can use their music without having any fear of copyright repercussions. And so thank you, YouTube, for supplying that. So next, we actually have a Discord for my class. Many students will make a GroupMe, but I actually prefer Discord because students can get on there and voice chat or share their screens with each other, and it kind of gives them an open room. Discord is a messaging application that allows you to post messages and also do video chat and screen share like in Zoom. The rooms are always open, so students could go on at any time to meet with their fellow students, with myself, or with TAs to go over the material. So I'm very lucky that one of my students helped me create this, and we've continued it on. We call it Stat Nation, but I want students to come to kind of a united community where people can work together, and also my TAs are there so they can meet with TAs, they can ask questions, and especially during this online time, it really helps to create an online arena that students know that you're monitoring and that they can get help from people who are experts in the material. Finally, I love the Adobe suite of software. I've been trying to learn more and more of it as I go on, from Adobe Audition to Adobe Photoshop to After Effects to Premiere Pro. And each of them have their own capabilities. This all takes time. I started out video editing in Camtasia, which maybe some of you know, but then I kind of outgrew it. I got to where I wanted to do things beyond Camtasia's abilities. But I will say this, many of my top videos on YouTube with tens of thousands of views, maybe it's just because they're older, but they were made in Camtasia and students did like them. So this goes back to our theme. It's not about having all the resources. It's about using the resources you have to the best of your abilities. And students really react positively to that. So lastly, make sure to check out our descriptions in the links. It contains videos from both Dr. Andrew Lowe, the Charles E. and Susan T. Harris Professor of Finance at the MIT Sloan School of Management, and also Dr. Sean Willems, Haslam Chair in Supply Chain Analytics at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Haslam College of Business. We have the paper that we are writing and also these videos in the links to help you better learn how to utilize the resources you have. They cover these topics from their own unique perspective and show you how to incorporate them into your teaching style. Lastly, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at bstevens@utk.edu.